Huh? Where's Tenmyoji?
ああ、天明寺だったら医務室に残ってるぜ。
What?
どうして？
部屋を出る間際、天明寺が来ないことに気づいたから振り向いて聞いてみたんだ。おい、行かないのかって。そしたらあいつ、こんなことを。
抗ウイルス薬を打ったとはいえ、クオークとアリスのことが心配じゃ。わしはここに残る。
なるほど。すると、そろばんであるファイさんの対戦相手は、ディオさん一人だけということになりますね。
Tenmyoji and Phi both have a 1. One-on-one, huh?
大丈夫だ、ファイ。心配するな。天明寺がいようといまいと、どっちにしろ俺は協力を選ぶつもりでいたんだ。
Sure.
なぜかわかるか？
私の BP が1だから。どうでも言うつもりか？
So this time, up until now, Dio hasn't done anything weird or wrong or assholey, so I guess people don't really hate him right now.
その通りだよ。お前が協力を選び、俺が裏切りを選んだら、お前の BP はマイナス1になって天に召されることになる。そこまでして俺はこのゲームに勝ちたいなんて思わねえ。だからお前も分かってるな。
Don't betray, says Dio.
ディオさんのペアである天明寺さん、その BP もファイさんと同じく一致。
Oh, I thought Tenmyoji was with Phi. Tenmyoji's on Dio's side. Oh no. Oh, well, that means Phi can't betray either.
だからディオさんが協力を選ぶと宣言した以上、ファイさんも同じように協力を選ばざるを得ない、そういうことですね。なぜならファイさんが裏切りに投票してしまったら、天明寺さんは。
まあそういうことだ。
Tough spot.
一騎打ちって言うと、私と K も同じだね。K のペアであるクオークはまだ眠ったままだし。
そうなりますね。
How many BP do you guys have?
私は6。
同じく私も6です。
Whoa, that's really tempting for them to betray. If they betray, we should tackle them to the ground. This will be a tough one then.
協力と裏切りに分かれたら、裏切りを選んだ方が9点に。
K、こんなことを言っても信じてもらえるかどうかわからないけど。
分かっています。お互いに協力を選ぼうというのでしょ？
うん。
もちろん賛成ですよ。裏切りと裏切りではプラスマイナス0点ですからね。何の実りもありません。であるならば2人で協力を選んで2点を獲得した方がはるかに賢明です。
よかった。
Everyone's talking it out outside the rooms this time, but when we get in and then come back out again, it might not be how we discussed it.
じゃあ絶対だからね。
ええ。
約束だよ。
約束です。
投票の締め切りまで残り1分です。
おい、まずいぞ。早く部屋に入らないと。
わかりました。行きましょう。
Dio, K, Phi, and Clover all took off immediately, heading into different AB rooms. Counting from the left, Dio went into room 3, K went into room 4, and Phi and Clover went into rooms 5 and 6 respectively. That left Luna and myself. We're the only pair going into a room this time. What do you think about taking the one on the far left?
Hi!
Is this relevant? They seem to be making quite they're like specifying which rooms we're going into. With that settled, we headed into AB room number 1. We know that Alice is not here, so... No old lady. We're doing good. This might have to do with how the rooms were supposedly moved. But I can't really make any connections right now.
30秒です。
シグマさん、今更こんなことを言うのもなんですが、対戦相手のアリスさんは今医務室にいます。ですから。
You're saying that we should pick ally, right? Since Alice is going to default to that anyway. I know. It's not really fair to betray someone who isn't voting. Luna's face broke into a warm, happy smile. Not to be sappy, but it was like a ray of sunshine on a cloudy day. I grinned back at her before I knew what I was doing. For a minute, the Nonary game didn't seem so scary. The power of a girl's smile.
の締め切りまで残り10秒です。9、8、7、6、5、4、3、2、1。
Yeah, I don't think we have to think too hard about this one. Let's save Betray for some other time. Because we already have a confirmation that Alice can't pick Betray on us. So I don't have to worry about my death.
アンビデックスゲーム第2ラウンド終了。結果は倉庫内のディスプレイに表示されます。お疲れ様でした。アンビデックスゲートを開放します。
Luna and I stepped out of the AB room. Alright, let's go have a look at the results.
はい。
アンビデックスゲーム第2ラウンドの結果を発表します。
Ooh, it's gonna be nice and juicy this time.
一度画面にご注目ください。
Yeah, I think this is actually one of the most exciting ones. Aside from my own battle, my own game, everybody else has a really intense fight. Very few people here. Ally. Oh my... Wow. Excuse me? I don't know what to say right now, because I'm... What? Oh my god. Okay, let's go through this one by one. Betray. Yeah, Clover and Kay were like, okay, Kay, let's ally with each other, okay? Kay's like, okay, Clover, I'll ally with you. Betray. That's how people are. Selfish. Tenmyoji, Dio, and Fi. Not entirely unexpected, I don't think. Because, well, I think Fi expected that Dio didn't give a shit about Fi, so that he would betray. So Fi still did betray. Not because she was trying to kill Tenmyoji, but because she knows that Dio will probably pick betray. So that's the only option she could have picked to save herself. And, well. I'm dead! Did Alice come running out into the warehouse when we went in or something? There was only 1 minute left. How did this happen? Let's see.
結果は以上のように確定しました。各自バングルの数字をご確認ください。
Now I can't even do ally even if there is a guarantee that the other person is doing ally too. What? It wasn't possible. I blinked, rubbed my eyes, and looked again. No. That's not possible. How can Alice's vote be betray? It was a question I would never know the answer to. There was a sharp, quick pain in my wrist, barely even noticeable. I couldn't feel anything flowing into my veins, but I knew it was there. First would be the anesthetic Soporil. I blinked, and my vision started to blur. When I tried to think, it felt like my mind had been stuffed with cotton. My legs began to wobble, then gave out entirely as I crumpled to the floor.
シグマ、シグマ、しっかりしろ。
ねえ、シグマ、起きて。
シグマさん、シグマ。
そんな、どうして。
My eyelids felt like they were made of lead, but I forced them open. Everything was growing blurry, but I noticed that the door on the second AB room was open. No one had gone into that room. I'd watched them all. And yet, there she stood, an apparition that couldn't possibly be real. Alice. The world was gradually going black, and my mouth refused to form words, but my head echoed with questions. How? Why? What was she doing there? Had she run in at the last moment, after Luna and I entered our room? But even if she had, why choose betray? Then the darkness closed over my mind as well, and my questions were gone forever. That was a very quick 5 minutes, or 10 minutes, or whatever it was. Okay, Sigma said apparition, but was it actually an apparition? That was Alice, wasn't it? What the hell happened? Thank God we have the power of multiple timelines. Oh, this is a long one. God damn. What the hell is happening? Okay, nothing new unlocked yet. This one is still locked. Yeah, so we just keep going here. Oh yeah, that was a lock. That was a lock that we got for going to the laboratory. We unlocked it there. But now we will betray, and Luna's gonna be like, oh my god, what the hell, man? But it'll be okay because it'll save my life. At first, I thought somebody voted for her. Like, I had this question before, but we never really resolved it or got any additional information about it, and I was wondering if other people could vote for a person. It doesn't seem like that's what happened here, but we'll see. Luna and I stepped out of the AB room.
シグマさん、どうしてですか？裏切りを選ぶなんてフェアじゃない。
Oh yeah, we had the whole conversation with Luna about allying.
そう言ってたのに、なんで？
There was nothing I could think of to say. Even I didn't really understand why I'd picked betray instead. It had almost felt unconscious, like some other part of my mind was making the decision. I think that was a really good choice that I did ally first, because otherwise that impact would be gone. Perhaps I'd been possessed by some sort of evil spirit that had moved my finger to the betray button against my will. Right, well, we should go see the results.
いなくたってわかります。どうなっているかなんて。
The look in her eyes was more painful than any punch I'd ever taken. I turned away and almost ran toward the projector. Anything to get away from those eyes.
アンビデックスゲーム第2ラウンドの結果を発表します。一同画面にご注目ください。
I don't think Alice will be allying this time. Yeah, okay, good. Wow, guys, wonderful. betrays across the board.
結果は以上のように確定しました。各自バングルの数字をご確認ください。
What? It wasn't possible. I blinked, rolled my eyes, and looked again. No. How can Alice's vote be betray? That's not possible. Alice. She was standing inside the second room from the left. The room that should have been empty. Why? My mind was still reeling. Where had she come from? As I was trying to form a sentence, she began to move toward us. From around me, I heard a chorus of muted gasps. It seemed we were united in our surprise and confusion. Alice drew to a stop in front of me and glanced up at the display.
やってくれるわね。私が医務室にいたままだったらどうするつもりだったの？
You say that now, but you killed me last time. And I wonder what you thought about me then.
この卑怯者。
One of the things it doesn't feel good, okay? Like, I picked ally with you first, but now because of how the game is, I have to pick betray to proceed. And now you're accusing me of choosing betray when my true intentions were ally. Never feels good when that happens, you know? Me, a coward? You've got some balls saying that to me after you picked betray. Why are you even here?
抗ウイルス薬打ってくれたんでしょ？天明寺さんから聞いたわ。ありがとう。その件についてだけは素直にお礼を言っとくわ。
でも麻酔薬の効果はまだ。
ええ、切れてないみたいね。おかげで頭はガンガンするし、クラクラとめまいもするし、最悪よ。私、麻酔薬に対する耐性が人一倍強いの。そういう風に鍛えられてるから。多分ゼロボスはそのこと知ってたのね。ここに拉致されてきた時には普通の人の何倍もの薬が投与されたんだと思うわ。
How do you know what the standard dose is?
とにかくそんなわけで私は医務室で目覚めたの。で天明寺さんから事情を聞いて慌ててここに駆けつけたってわけ。
So you showed up right after we'd gone into the AB room?
そう、ギリギリのタイミングで滑り込んだのよ、あの部屋に。確か締め切り時刻の10秒前のことだったわ。
わざわざ裏切りを選ぶためにここへ？
そうよ。
And she's gonna be like, it's a good thing I did that because you guys betrayed me.
いけない？実際に来て正解だったじゃない。あなたたちの投票先は裏切り。もしも私が医務室にとどまったままだったら2点を失ってたことになるんだから。
つまり知恵のためだったと。
Well, okay. Look, if Alice lost 2 BP, it's not the end of the world. Yet, she's so willing to kill me. She knows I only have 1, because she's the one who made me a 1. And she cares about herself more than she cares about my life. Okay? She cares about 2 BP more than she cares about my life. You're full of shit. Self-defense my ass. You chose betray because you wanted out. You had 6 BP. If I had picked ally, you would have had 9. That's what you were trying to do, right?
だとしたらなんだっていうの？
So for the other route just now, I assume Alice would have left. Well, yeah, after we died, Alice left. I don't know if she ever even felt bad about killing me. Are you serious? You would have killed me. Look! I only have 1 BP. You were this close to murdering me. Just admit it. You were planning to kill me so you could escape.
バカなこと言わないでよ。あなたたちが裏切りを選ぶのは分かってたわ。
I am like up to here right now.
だから
Tell the truth!
嘘じゃないわよ。だいたいなんで私ばっかりが責められなきゃいけないわけ？あの結果をよく見なさいよ。殺人未遂を犯した人間なら他に2人もいるじゃない。
ファイ and ディオ。
そうよ。ディオが協力を選んでいたらファイは天明寺さんを、ファイが協力を選んでいたらディオはファイを殺すことになってたはず。
こんな言い方をするのもなんですが、相手を出し抜いて脱出しようとした人も2人いますね。
This is the worst possible outcome of all the AB games we've played so far because there's no trust among anybody. Even though everybody is okay, nobody's died so far. It just goes to show that if nobody dies, we're still not trusting each other. Oh my god. Okay, I think Alice's so-called sin is greater than Phi or Dio's though, because Phi was trying to protect herself as well because she was either killing Tenmyoji or letting herself die, so that's different from you having 6 BP and trying to kill me.
四つ葉さんと K さんです。どちらか一方が協力を選んでいたら、もう一方の BP は必ず9になっていたはずで。
This route is fucked. Yeah, we need to call it quits for this route because we're not getting anywhere. I turned to look at the results again. Before, I'd only been looking at my own. I hadn't realized that there was only one word all across the roster: betray. Whatever trust we'd managed to build had fallen apart. Everyone was suspicious of everyone else. Had it been the bombs? Or had it been something else? Whatever the reason, if it kept up, we never managed to escape. We'd be trapped in a cycle of 0-point rounds for the rest of our lives. Something had to be done. That's right, because, yeah, now that we know that nobody is trustworthy, then the next rounds, everybody's gonna keep doing betray, 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 betray. I closed my eyes and took a deep breath. Alright guys, pay attention. You've probably already all figured this out, but we can't keep going like this. If we don't start being a little bit more trusting, we're never gonna get out of here. We need to work together. I might as well have been talking to a wall.
すみません、シグマさん。少し考えたいことがあります。一人にさせてください。
Okay.
俺も行かせてもらうぜ。こういう殺伐とした感じ苦手なんだよ。悪いな。
Dio.
それでは私も。
A2, Phi?
ああ、すまんな。
How is that appropriate for such a serious situation? Oh my god. Without another word, she turned and left the warehouse. Dio and Kei quickly followed suit.
ほらね、これが答えよ。結局みんな自分のことだけしか考えてないの。
That doesn't make it any better that you're like them.
だから私だけを悪者みたいに言わないでくれる？
You killed me! You killed me already, okay? It's just that this time I happened to pick betray, so you didn't kill me.
さあ、行くわよ、四つ葉。
ちょっと待ってよ、アリス。体の方は大丈夫なの？本当に心配したんだからね。
I watched them walk away, Clover practically jumping with delight to have Alice back. Before long, they reached the yellow door and disappeared beyond it. Oh, what about our new groupings?
みんな行ってしまいましたね。
You aren't going to leave too?
ええ。
Are you sure? I chose betray.
知っています。でも、私はシグマさんのことを信じてますから、きっと手が滑っただけだったんだと思います。
Why are you such an angel?
そうでしょ?
My chest hurt, and when I blinked, I felt something hot and wet prick the corners of my eyes. Luna, I bit my lip. Before I could think of anything to say, the metallic rumble of the doors closing echoed through the warehouse.
アンビデックスゲートが閉鎖されました。アンビデックスゲーム第3ラウンドは星の回です。ゲートは星のマークが記されたカードキーにより解錠されます。なお、このカードキーの使用回数に制限はありません。これを用いることにより、アンビデックスゲートは無限に開放することができます。
As many times as we want, huh?
星のカードキーを使えば何度でも AB ゲームができる。どうやらそういうことみたいですね。ところでシグマさん、バングルを見せてもらえないですか？
Why?
ほら、ゼロウサギが言ってたじゃないですか。
AB ゲートが閉まると同時にバングルの表示色は自動的にシャッフルされるようになってるんだよさ。それからソロとペアの区別もね。
Yeah, I remember. Let's see here. I'm a cyan pair. What about you?
私は紫色のペアです。
Oh, we can't be together again then. I wonder what the others are. Man, I'm so down right now because, you know, in the other routes, watching people die, that's one kind of pain. But knowing that you're in a room with 9 people and you can't trust any of them is a different kind of pain.
さあ、確かめてみないとわからないですね。
We've got about 80 minutes until the next set of chromatic doors open. So, what should we do now?
みんなバラバラになってしまいましたね。
Yeah. Physically and emotionally. I really don't like how this is going. It won't matter how many times we repeat the AB game if nobody trusts anybody else. We'll never be able to get out of here.
何か共通の目的があるといいんですが、そうすれば心を一つにできるような気がします。
Yeah, but we've already got something like that. We all want to get out of here. That seems like a pretty clear goal to me, but everybody chose betray. Including me.
じゃあ、敵を見つけるというのはどうでしょう？
An enemy?
はい、共通の敵です。例えば、2つの爆弾を仕掛けた犯人とか。
After coming back from the lab, I told her about the bomb while she gave Alice and Quark the Axelavir. Yeah, that might work. If we can figure out which one of us planted those bombs, then everyone else would work together against them.
ええ。
But how do we figure out who it is?
何か手がかりはないんですか？
Clues, huh? That's right! The memory card! I pulled it out of my pocket and held it out toward her.
何ですかこれ？
I told you, a memory card. It was under the bomb we found in the lab. I think whoever set the bomb dropped it.
犯人の？
Yeah. I don't know what's on it, though. We couldn't find any kind of memory card reader.
そうですか。それじゃあ手がかりには。待ってください。
Yes.
そういえばこれどこかで見たことが。
Huh?
わかりました。医務室です。ディオさんとクオーク君と一緒に医務室を探索した時、あの時にこれとそっくり同じ形をしたメモリーカードが。
Then
はい、中身を確認することができると思います。あそこにあったモニターにこのメモリーカードを差し込めば。
this better be good. Luna and I exploded into the infirmary, nearly running into Alice, Clover, and Temyoji. I don't want to see them there. Pork was there as well, of course, but he was just as we'd left him, asleep on the bed.
何しに来たの？
I opened my mouth to retort, then thought better of it. If I really wanted people to start trusting each other, well, real change starts at home. Oh, you're being the bigger person, Sigma. I'm proud of you. As quickly as I could, I explained the second bomb and the memory card, and how we'd come to the infirmary in hopes that we could discover the contents of the latter.
わかったわ。
それじゃあ早速調べてみようよ。
シグマ、よろしく頼む。
Right. Just as Luna had said, there was a small slot under the screen, exactly the size to fit a memory card. Within moments, the screen was filled with what appeared to be random letters. What is this? Oh, do we want to see if our combinations are here? It wouldn't be that easy, would it? Doesn't seem like it means anything though. We need the key. Was this the information that was that Dio was transmitting back to wherever he was transmitting it to? Because he mentioned that he was sending some information, and then there was a cipher and blah blah blah. What is this?
22文字のアルファベットが6行か。
1行目、3行目、5行目と2行目、4行目、6行目は全く同じ文字でできてるみたいだけど。
Oh, you're right. It's just 2 lines repeated over and over again. Yeah.
つまり1行目と2行目の繰り返しになっているということですね。
うん。
Is this some kind of code or something?
でたらめな文字列とは思えん。おそらくそうじゃろう。
他にデータは？
ないみたいです。
So all we get is this gibberish. Hey Alice, you haven't said anything for a while. What's up? She's deciphering the shit in her head.
四つ葉、これを見て何か気づいたことはない？
気づいたこと？
研修の時に見たでしょ？これに似たものを。
They just gave up on the disguise. Training?
そっか。これって。
やっと分かったみたいね。
おい、2人だけで納得しとらんで、わしらにも教えんか。
Alice sighed and stretched her neck from side to side.
これは多分とあるテロ組織の暗号表だと思うわ。
You could even tell where it's from?
テロ組織？
クレイドールズっていう名前の組織。
Myrmidons. It seems like in Japanese they were called clay dolls. For some reason, I felt like I'd heard that name before.
何なんですか？そのクレイドールズって。
世界を破滅に導こうとしている不穏な集団よ。
そいつらが使っているのがこの暗号表というわけか。
もちろんパターンはいくつもあるけど、これはそのうちの一つだと思うの。
I feel like this is confirmation that the bombs were set by Dio.
じゃあ爆弾を仕掛けたのは
そのクレイドールズのメンバーってことになりますね。
ええ、断言はできないけど、 おそらく。
Damn. I have got a ton of questions for you. But let me start with this one. What the heck does that thing say?
そんなのわからないわよ。
What?
わかるわけないでしょ。解読するためのキーがないんだから。
I have it! I have it!
完全にお手上げよ。
四つ葉もか。
アリスがわからないのに私がわかるわけないじゃん。
そうか。
Not much we can do then. We can come back to that code stuff later. I've got another question. Alice, Clover, who the hell are you? Why do you know about this code?
それは
You told me your job was to eliminate enemies of the state or something like that. Just what the hell kind of job is that? I think it's time you told us what you do. You're asking when nobody trusts each other.
悪いけどそれは言えないわ。
Why not?
あなたが爆弾を仕掛けた犯人、クレイドールズのメンバーかもしれないからよ。
I'm the one who freaking had the memory card and freaking brought it here. That's idiotic. Of course I'm not.
そうじゃないっていう保証なんてどこにもないでしょ。敵に情報を与えるわけにはいかないのよ。
I'm not your enemy. I'm your ally. I'm your friend. I just want all of us to get out of here. Just please tell us. Please. We need to find out who did this so we can all escape. But we have too little information. We need your help. Fine. If you won't tell us about yourself, then just tell us about the Myrmidons. What else do you know about them?
ごめんなさい。
Before I could blink, she leapt up and ran out of the room. Hey, wait! Alice! I took off after her.
Until いつまでついてくるつもり？
Until you tell me what you know.
だったら四つ葉に聞けばよかったじゃない。
Over?
あの子が私の仲間だってもう気づいてるんでしょ。
Well, yeah.
だったら
I wanted to hear it from you.
なんでよ。
Because we need your ending. We already have Clover's. That's a good question. Remember the crew quarters? Or this garden? We got paired up for 2 separate rounds. That means I've spent more time with you than anybody else here. Maybe that's it. I guess I'm just curious about you.
何よそれ。
Whoa, that's I don't think we've ever seen that pose before. Is she feeling embarrassed? She spun around to hide it, but I caught a blush of red on her cheeks. We walked down the path to where it ended, next to the pond. Oh, this is so romantic, man. With benches and flowers and trees and stuff. Even like a fake sky. I stayed silent. Alice sat down on the bench. We gazed at the smooth surface of the pond for several long minutes before she began to speak.
憎んでないの？
What? Why? You know why.
私はあなたを殺そうとしたの。
You mean in the AB game?
ええ。怖かったのよ、とても。突然こんなところに閉じ込められて、わけのわからないゲームをさせられて。爆弾のことだってそう。あれを見つけた時、冷静に話してたように聞こえたかもしれないけど、本当は怖くて仕方がなかったの。それに輪をかけるようにあのことが重なって。
What do you mean?
クオークが倒れたって聞いて、みんなで医務室に駆けつけた時のことよ。あの時私、みんなが何を言ってるのかまるでわからなかったの。周りの全ての光景がなんていうか早送りの映像のように見えて、そのうち 自分が誰なのかもわからなくなって、まるで自分が自分じゃないような、そんな感覚にとらわれて。
That was probably the Radical Six.
ええ、多分そうだと思うわ。その後のことはよく覚えてないけど、とにかく医務室で目覚めた途端、たちまちあの時の恐怖が蘇ってきたの。だから私は一刻も早く脱出したいって、そう思って、あなたが死ぬかもしれないなんて考えもしなかったわ。あなたが死ぬかどうかなんてどうでもよかったのよ。ほらね、憎いでしょ。殺したくなった？私のこと。
What? Do what?
殺しなさいよ。さあ。
What the hell, Alice? I'm not gonna kill you. I don't even hate you.
嘘よ。
Well, I was really angry with her earlier, but something about how when somebody does something really bad, but they full-heartedly admit to being bad, and just her saying that, I didn't even think about killing you because I was so worried about myself. Something about being that vulnerable. And, well, it does prick at me a little bit. It does make me want to go softer on her even though she tried to kill me.
一歩間違えば死ぬところだったのよ。
You did kill me. Come on, calm down. No one's killing anyone. A single tear rolled down Alice's cheek. Then another, and another, leaving shining lines across her face. When I reached out, I saw her tense just slightly. Slowly, I brushed my thumb across her cheek and off, taking her tears with it.
どうしてそんな風に優しくしてくれるの？なんだか亡くなった父のことを思い出すわ。
That's who you were after, right? The people who killed your dad?
ええ。
Did they have anything to do with Myrmidons?
私が泣いたこと、四つ葉に黙っててくれる？
Come on.
もしも黙っててくれるなら、口止め料として教えてあげるわ。クレイドールズのことも、それから私自身のことも。
Sure. My lips are sealed.
本当に？
What crying? I don't remember any crying.
そう。それじゃあ聞かせてあげるわ。
Alice took a deep breath and began. My father is Egyptian, but my mother is French. They met while my mother was in Egypt on vacation and married shortly after, so she is Egyptian. While I was 3, we all moved to the US. My father was a scientist, and his field was cloning! He was recruited by an American lab, which was why we moved. Both of my parents had used English around me from the time I was born, so I didn't have any problems adapting to life in the United States. By my 9th birthday, we'd been there for 6 years. That was when it happened. In the middle of the day, my mother showed up at school. Her eyes were red and puffy, but she didn't say anything to me on the drive home. When we arrived, there were several policemen there to meet us. My father had always been a very punctual man, and when dinner time came and went with no sign of him, even I began to realize something terrible had happened. It wasn't until several years later that I finally learned the truth. My father's lab had been attacked by terrorists, and he had been kidnapped. For the rest of my childhood, my mother raised me by herself. I didn't realize it then, but it must have been incredibly difficult for her. As a single mother, alone in a country where any relatives were a transatlantic flight away. She did her best not to let me see it, but every so often, when she thought she was alone, the mask would fall away, and in every line of her face, I could see exhaustion and loneliness. As much as I missed my father, it was those moments that made me wish more than anything that he'd never been taken. Fortunately, I was an excellent student and did especially well in math. I earned a full ride scholarship straight out of high school and spent the next several years studying. After graduation, I took a job with the Department of Defense, hoping that they might have the resources to help me look for my father. I was immediately assigned to the Special Office of Internal Security. Their purpose is to investigate and sometimes deal with terrorist organizations and other serious threats to the state. I could tell my mother wasn't happy about my decision, but she chose to remain silent about it. Eventually, I learned that the terrorist organization that had taken my father was none other than the Myrmidons, although at the time that name didn't mean anything to me. They were suspected of human cloning. Specifically, it was thought that they had been using cloning techniques to copy their most useful members and expand their ranks. The Myrmidons apparently believed that they could use cloning to create a new race of humans. Now at last, I knew the reason for my father's abduction. The commander of the Myrmidons is a man named Left. We know his name and his gender, but not his appearance or age. The Myrmidons are closely associated with a cult known as Free the Soul. We believe that Free the Soul provides their funding. But trying to pin any kind of misdeeds on the cult's leader, a man named Brother, is like trying to nail Jello to a wall. Brother is supposed to be fairly advanced in years, and rumors say he's so old he can't even get out of bed. Unfortunately, his mind seems to be as sharp as ever. Old guy. At that point, I hit a wall. I knew the Myrmidons had been behind my father's kidnapping, but that was all I could learn about them. Then, one day, I got a tip that some of them were hiding in a building in the Nevada desert. 999. I headed out immediately. On the way there, my car had some engine trouble and stalled out. I was trying to decide what to do when an SUV appeared out of nowhere. I'll give you one guess who was behind the steering wheel. Clover. That was the first time we met. Is it just me or is this starting to sound like a love story? There were 4 other people in the car with her, and when I asked them what they were doing, I got what was just about the last answer I'd expected. They told me they'd been locked up inside the very building I'd been on my way to investigate, and that they were currently in pursuit of the people who had kidnapped them in the first place. My priorities shifted very quickly. After a short discussion, I convinced them to allow me to come along. My hope was to find the people they were chasing, who I was certain were the Myrmidons. In the end, however, we were unable to track them down. In fact, I still don't know where they might have gone. Eventually, I took Clover and her companions to SOIS headquarters. We decided that involving the police would only complicate things. So this special force is outside the chain of command of the police. After some questioning, it was determined that the people who had instigated this particular event were not connected to the Myrmidons. We did, however, discover that the mysterious disappearance and subsequent reappearance of several children 9 years prior was connected to Free the Soul. There was also a 6th person in the SUV, although they weren't riding in it per se. What's his name? I forgot. Ace. A middle-aged man, who I'll just call H for now, had been bound and placed in the trunk. Hongo. According to the other 4, he had been behind the disappearance of the children 9 years earlier. We also learned his pharmaceutical company, a major player on the world stage, was effectively controlled by Free the Soul. More specifically, I suppose, H was a member of Free the Soul and very committed to their cause. So why had he kidnapped all those children? Apparently, it had been part of an experiment designed to test the ability of certain people to access what's called the morphogenetic field. I don't imagine you've ever heard of it before, so I'll try to give you a quick rundown. Simply put, these people can access a sort of field that allows their consciousness to resonate with the consciousness of certain other people. To be honest, it might be simpler just to call it telepathy. The SOIS had heard of this particular ability before and had actually used it in a number of investigations, so I wasn't surprised to learn of its existence. I was shocked, however, to learn that these experiments had been carried out by a member of Free the Soul. If that was the case, then Brother must have known about it. The thought of him discovering a way to control and harness that power was terrifying. It wasn't too long after the incident in Nevada that another tip about the Myrmidons crossed my desk. This time, it claimed that the Myrmidons intended to launch a large-scale biological terrorist attack. My bosses decided that we needed more agents to deal with a threat of that magnitude, and Clover was recruited. Because she'd been a test subject in H's experiment, we knew she had the ability to access the morphogenetic field, and we wanted to put that ability to use. After several months of training, she was sent on her first mission. She would be tasked with the infiltration and investigation of a Myrmidon cloning lab. I was assigned to be her commanding officer. I hoped that our investigation might also give me a lead on my father's whereabouts. At last, I had a chance to find out what had happened to him. I wouldn't let that chance pass me by. Perhaps that was what kept me from noticing the truth. The whole operation was a trap. The lab was fake, and Clover was captured almost immediately. I got there as fast as I could, but when I arrived, the building was only an empty shell. All of the conspirators, who had pretended to be researchers and the like, had already fled. I searched frantically for Clover until at last, in a basement room, I found her. She had been tied to a chair, but on the floor next to her was another body. We didn't hear about this. Oh, it was my father. He looked as if he'd just been dumped there, and when I got to him, his body was already cold. He was covered in dark, ugly bruises. It wasn't until later that I learned he had died from ruptured organs and internal bleeding. A lot of abuse. They had beaten him to death. As soon as Clover had been captured, a Myrmidon in a mask had come to visit her. He'd said that unless she wanted to end up like my father, she would leave them alone and tell her masters of the SOIS to do likewise. In retrospect, they must have known who I was and who my father was. That was why they'd killed him. Perhaps they thought they were sending a message to me. Or that once he was gone, I'd lose my reason for chasing them. They were very, very wrong. I took Clover with me and left. I tried to console myself with the fact that I had, at least, been able to save her. Sometime later, I received a call from the coroner. He told me there was something I needed to see. There in the morgue was my father, cold and pale on a steel table. I could barely stand to look at him, but the coroner insisted. On his arms were 2 rows of numbers, comprised of 8s and 9s, It took me a moment to recognize my father's handwriting. He had carved them into his own skin. On his chest was another message, but they were letters this time, not numbers. Not many, just enough to make a short sentence. I love you, Alice. I broke down crying right there in the morgue. They were the first tears I'd shed since the operation had started, and there was no stopping them. There would be no forgiveness. Not for the monsters who put my father through this. They destroyed my family. I would make them pay, even if I had to die to do it. That night, I made a promise to myself. I would avenge my father. It didn't take long to figure out that the numbers he'd written were latitude and longitude. They pointed to a chemical factory that had been disguised as an abandoned building. Further investigations revealed that it was the mother lode we'd been looking for, the headquarters of the Myrmidons. I think my father must have known how things would turn out. Knowing he was going to die, he'd written the directions to our enemy's fortress on his own body. He'd sacrificed too much for me to waste this opportunity with recklessness. This time, our operation would succeed. This time, I wouldn't let my excitement put Clover or any of my other agents in danger. So we took our time, we gathered information, we did our research, and we planned. Finally, we were ready. December 25th, 2028 was going to be the day we finally set foot inside the Myrmidon stronghold. But then, on the 22nd, only 3 days before the operation was scheduled to begin, a man in a gas mask appeared. So you inhaled that gas, passed out, and woke up here in the AB room?
ええ。これがクレイドールズと私に関することのすべてよ。もちろん細かい部分については端折ってるけど、大体の概要は分かったでしょ?
Yeah. Thanks. I have to say that this is probably my favorite reveal of a character's backstory so far. I don't think it's particularly because of the events that she talked about, but the way it happened, being able to see vulnerability and actual human connection has been something quite rare in this entire game so far. So to see something like that, especially from a person who puts on a front, who has a lot of valuable information that she needs to protect from the bad guys, to have someone like that open up to us is quite nice. She gave me a sad sort of smile and stood up. And bonus points that it happened at the most beautiful place in the entire warehouse too. Not yet. Your story explained a lot, but there is still one big question.
答え?
Who here is a Myrmidon? One of us planted the bombs. And based off the code we found, it's pretty clear that the person is a Myrmidon. Right?
ええ、そうね。
And I agree that we need to figure out who they are.
突き止めるって言っても、どうやって?
Well, that's what I wanted to ask you about. Do you have any clues?
思い当たること?思い当たることね。あの暗号表を解読できれば、もしかしたら何かわかるかもしれないけど。
How can we do that?
だから言ったでしょ?そのためにはキーが必要なのよ。それがわからないことにはどうにも。
What's the key?
キーはキーよ。 解読するための鍵のこと。クレイドールズはその鍵として長い桁数の数字を使っていて。
Wait. A long string of numbers that I have. Could that be... Holy crap. We are really getting into the end game here. Look at how often the glycerin is leaking. Yeah. Wow, impressive memory.
なんなのよその数字は。
He was convicted of a string of numbers. I was almost as surprised as she was. The numbers had just kind of appeared in my mind, and I was saying them before I knew what I was doing. Could I check if this was a lock? Damn, double locks! Oh my god. Alice looked at me incredulously, and I stared back.
待って、今の数字もう一回言ってもらえる？
Doing that shit in her head, math skills. 78153, 61089, 83809, 42419, 90551.
それって1984493551を3乗した数じゃない？
What?
だから今シグマが言った25桁の数、それを素因数分解すると198449351の3乗になるのよ。
You're talking about reducing an integer to a series of prime numbers that you multiply together to get it, right? Like, if you have 30, then you'd get 2 times 3 times 5, right?
そうよ。中学校で習ったでしょ？
So you're saying that 198449351 is a prime. And if you multiply it by itself 3 times, you get that number.
ええ。
Don't tell me you just did all of that in your head.
いいえ、暗算よ。
Oh my goodness, you are like a Mensa member.
頭の中で計算したの。
What? No way. That's impossible.
言ったでしょ？数学は人よりも得意だって。
That's not better at math.
そういうあなただってたった今膨大な桁数の数字をスラスラと暗唱したじゃない。私に言わせればそっちの記憶力の方が驚異的だわ。
That's something else.
ところで今の25桁の数字どこで知ったの？
I didn't know what to say. It feels kind of wrong not to tell Alice about it though, especially since she just told us about herself. What would I tell her? That it just came to me?
そう言えないのね。分かったわ。
Oh, I like to imagine that Alice is just a teeny little bit hurt here.
でもとにかく今の数字が例の暗号表を解読するためのキーになってることは間違いないと思う。クレイドールズが素数をかけたものをキーとして使ってるってことは分かってるから。デタラメな25桁の数字、その3乗項が偶然素数になる確率なんて限りなくゼロに近いし、ってことは25桁の数字は何者かの手によって作為的に生成された可能性が高いってことになるわ。
Could you explain that with small words?
だから要するに25桁の数字を素因数分解したもの、198449351の3乗が暗号を解くためのヒントになってるってこと。まだわからない？さっき医務室で見た暗号表思い出してみて。モニターにはなんて出力されてた？
I think the first row was... Jesus. I'm not reading that.
2行目は？
I think. Then they just repeat.
それにしてもやっぱりすごい記憶力ね、あなた。
She's right. Okay, the glycerin thing is something else, but that string of letters, we just saw it and Sigma has like photographic memory or something. Or he's a robot clone.
私たちの組織に欲しいぐらいだわ。
Well, keep going. How do we decode that?
今の文字列に さっきの素数198449351を当てはめてみるのよ。
How do we do that?
左上から順番に1文字目のアルファベット、9文字目のアルファベット、8文字目のアルファベットといった感じで文字を拾い読みしていけばいいの。
Wow.
そうすれば多分解けると思うわ。
I ran over what she'd said in my head. The prime numbers Alice had given me was 198449351. So what would we get if we picked out letters like she'd explained? The first letter would be C from the top left. Then you'd move 9 to the right, which would give you O. Then 8 more to the right. Eventually, we get a word. And that word was... You're kidding me! Fail and the game is over! Okay, wow, shit, I better make a save here. I don't think it'll actually be over, but that's scary sounding. Can I just open up the memo right here then? Yes, I can. Alright, let's do it right here then. Let me write down the number on the screen so that we can all look at it together. It's 198449351. And we're starting with C. So we know the first thing is C. We move 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh. We move 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. M. 1, 2, 3, 4. Is that a... That's a P. Crap. So now that we've exhausted this line, do we just keep going to the next line? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, it's starting to look like something. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Completed. As in mission completed. COMPLETED. I did it! Completed! That's it! That's the answer!
Completed? それって確かなの?
Yeah. I did exactly what you told me to do, and the word I got is completed. That doesn't really tell us anything about anybody. Well, actually, it's completed. The code and the letters repeat every 2 lines. It just repeats.
そう。私は暗号表の文字列を正確に記憶しているわけじゃないから何とも言えないんだけど、あなたがそこまで強く言うなら多分そうなのね。
I'm definitely certain.
分かったわよ。でもコンプリーティッドって何かしら?
What? Aside from the obvious, you mean? I'm guessing here it means mission complete. So that's what the transmitter was for.
やつ?
You're saying way too many things that people don't understand.
やつって誰よ? 通信機って何?
Wait, then you already know. But he's not... Sigma is not pulling the part of his memory that knows that Dio is a Myrmidon's member. He even pulled the key out, but not the part of knowing Dio is Myrmidon's. I barely even heard her. Suddenly, my mind was full of memories that hadn't been there a moment before. It was like a wave had washed away the sand, revealing a bed of precious gems underneath. Whoa. There's one of those we haven't seen, right?
父よ、兄よ、ブラザーよ、私はついに聖なる任務を成し遂げました。人類をこの手で救ったのです。
We know that one part of Dio's mission is to kill the old lady, right? But now that he's transmitted a message to his organization saying completed, that sounds like the old lady is dead. But we haven't seen her body yet.
それはあなたのご加護があったからこそ、心から感謝いたします。
Damn it! Why hadn't I realized it before? I could remember a series of numbers, but not this? At least I remembered it now. Dio was a member of the Myrmidons. And not just any member, he was their leader. That meant he had to be the one who planted the bombs.
ねえ、ちょっと聞いてる？
How do we tell everyone in a way that will make them believe us, though? Yeah.
だったら質問に答えなさいよ。やつって一体誰なの？通信機っていうのは何？
I didn't trust myself to try to explain it to her. More than likely, she'd just think I was insane. Even I could barely make sense of the sudden influx of new information.
まさかあなたがクレイドールズの一員だなんて言わないわよね。
If I was, do you really think I'd reveal myself like this?
まあ確かにそれもそうね。
Out of nowhere, Clover appeared. Clover, Alice cried.
こんなところにいたんだ。探したんだからね。
Really?
今みんな B 階の倉庫に集まってて、みんなっていうかルナとクオーク以外だけど。
どうして？
We've still got 45 minutes until the white doors open.
知ってる。
Oh, okay. Hey, wait a minute. I thought you, Kay, and Quark didn't know about the white doors.
医務室で天明寺さんから聞いたの。それでどこにあるか教えてくれるって言うから天明寺さんに連れられて B 階の倉庫へ。
クオークのことはルナに任せることにしたのね。
うん、そう。そしたらそこにファイとケイとディオもいて。
So?
いきなりファイと天明寺さんとディオの3人が喧嘩を始めちゃったんだよ。
Oh, jeez. What?
なんでまた？原因は何？
According to Clover, the last AB game had been the cause of their fight. Even though Tenmyoji only had one BP, Phi had chosen Betray. Then they started to fight, and since Dio had pressed Betray on behalf of his team, eventually he got dragged in too.
でもそれってなんかおかしくない？ファイだって BP は1だったんだから正当防衛だと思うけど。
Yes.
ああ、もういいからとにかく来てよ。今は K が必死になって仲裁に入ってるけど、一人で3人を抑えるには限界が。
Okay, okay. Come on, Alice, let's go.
ねえ、了解よ。
Tell you about the transmitter later.